About 10 years ago, the former technical director of the Ghana Football Association, Otia Kenton, said that it's only one man he believes can one day become the technical director of the Ghana Football Association. And that man, he said, his knowledge of football was so incredible to the extent that he felt he would rise, lead the national team, and someday, just maybe, lead us to a major competition. His journey, right all the way from Guan United, all the way to Kumasi Asante Kotoko, where he won the Ghana Premier League back to back, as well as the FA Cup. And also, he went to work with Right to Dream Academy, worked with Nigerian. Now he's a head of football for Right to Dream Academy, and also an assistant coach of the Black Stars. My guest on Prime Take is Masood Didi Dramani. Coach, thank you. How are you doing?
Good. Good to have you here.
It's my pleasure to be here.
Yeah, great really to have you and your
nice
crew.
Environment here, Coach.
Thank you, and always tell us what we need to do to look better.
That should be what?
Yeah, we want to always look better than what we are today. So
I should give you feedback.
So always give us feedback, and for us, feedback should be both positive and then negative, and we pick it well in very good faith.
Congratulations on your appointment as assistant coach of the Black
Oh,
Stars.
thank you.
Did you see that coming?
You just need to be working and then allow the system to decide.
But just this answer is quite an interesting one. You keep working and allow the system to decide. I remember you and I had a conversation that was around the COVID time. I asked you this question, whether you could manage the Black Stars, and you said already.
I remember very well.
You said,
I remember.
You know
I said every Ghanaian coach is a potential Blasters coach, and so you just need to be working and wait for the right moment. I had the opportunity of training as a coach in different environment. The CAF C license, and B license, A license. Became an instructor, became an elite instructor and assessor. Attended so many CAF programs with Uncle Ben Kofi and then Uncle Osam Dodu and then Otia Kenten. So for me, I was mentored by these great people.
So you learned the ropes.
Ben Kofi, Osam Dodu, Sam Ade, Otia Kenten, Mr. Ike Eduse, Mr. Afrani, Herbert Adu. So you can understand all these people. I had something.
These are revered.
Yes, I had something. I had something unique from each one of them, and then I had my own philosophy to build. So and that's why when I was in Kotoko, in my first year, can you imagine that Uncle Ben and then Osam Dodu, they came to visit me in Adako Dachi. Yeah. And I remember when he came to see us training, and then when we finished, and then he had a talk with the players. He asked them, guys, is that how you guys train? And they said yes. And he said, then you have to win the league, because he said, I've never seen a team train like this. Very professional, very positive in their approach, very welcoming with great effort and energy. And that was a week we turned things around when we went to Pandu to win at.
I remember I watched that game on television. Actually, I remember that game. I watched that game on television. But the Kotoko job, was it a job of pressure?
People say so, but I didn't see that. And the people who were even around me saw that. My perception about football is in a different. I see it from a different point. I see it to be a collective.
Was the environment a toxic one?
The environment becomes toxic if you have a weak perception. If you have a weak attention and awareness. I was quick to steady the people around because of my strong pattern, recognition. So I accepted who they were, both from the technical point of view, from the player point of view, and then from management and then fans point of view. First of all, I realized that these are very passionate people. They worship the club, and so they don't see anything that looks, to be honest, to say that I think that this is we don't look so strong, we don't have this. They don't see that. They just see everything to be we have to win. So I integrated myself quickly into that, and then I adapted into the system. But I still had my own ways of dealing and putting in what I think is right.
How did you always feel anytime they were saying that Kotoko is not a my team and more confirmed my coach?
I think that my first training session was a Thursday. You remember we met the then President of the Republic, Mr. John Dramani, when we came from the World Cup, and so that very day I flew to Kumasi, and I had my first training session, and then I remember it was a Thursday, and then I remember when I was walking down to the pitch and in the entrance I saw an old Kotoko fan and I was in the shorts, and then I remember he said, "Hey, Akwa with also will beat me." I had this. So walking down, and then when I finished the session, and then when I got to him, I said, "Open, Akwa will beat me," and then he said, "Obeya manabro." So, so these things were my initial point of talks and thoughts. So I had this in my mind always, that I needed to bring my person, full person. And when you are bringing your full person, it means you needed to have your confidence. And the only way you can have your confidence is when you have your full person, efforts and energy. Sometimes Dr. Honorable Pat will prepare, very good dish, and doctor will walk to my bungalow and then come and sit with me and then tell me that, "Didi, let's go, lunch is ready." And then we come there and then we are eating and I'm just thinking about training session. And so the way...
As a human being, so these things, were there moments that get your skin? As the fans, at the point fans don't believe that this our coach can do it.
Yes.
Even after you won the league.
Yes, these things, when it happens, the only wrong you would think would have been done to you is when they ask you not to be on your pitch to train. That is when you don't have anything to be able to show as an edifice of what work you have done. So always the prayer was that once they talk and they don't stop you from what you are supposed to do. If they were stopping you from what to do on the pitch, then there you will not have anything to prove. But once they don't stop you from doing this, at the end, what happened?
Asin, were you scared of getting the sack?
No, not at all. No, I had at a point I was just saying to myself, is it that they don't value what you are doing? Is it that, and then that was why I was thinking. I said that it means that it is important to build your own technical staff. Wherever you move with them. And I said no. Then I'll again answer myself, and I said no. Use the ones who are there, raise their capacity, let them create values for themselves, let them grow. So at a point I started pushing. Was not with you? I started putting them in the coaching courses, so that they can upgrade, and then so that they can think the way I see things. And I moved all of them, including Gordon Ablodi. Now he's an A license, Wellington, B license. I had a
Henry Wellington or Orlando?
Yeah, Henry Wellington. Now with the summer test, right? I moved them to an appreciable level, and then later on, Michael Osei also, had an A license through the we will call it So once thinking about this, you were just thinking that no, they are not stopping you from training. Go on with whatever you think. At the end, you had majority of the players.
In the second season?
Yes.
I remember that was the
2014
season. I remember the pressure, massive pressure, because the season did not start well, actually. The season did not start well.
I think 2014 was really very good. You know, 2012, 2013, I was away with the female team.
Yes.
In the World Cup.
Yes.
So the season started, so I wasn't part of the...
Yeah,
even though I was joining them in the preseason, you know, intermittently.
Yeah, but I recall that there was this
that was
season,
2014, 2015.
2014, 2015.
Yes.
Because I recall that there was this article that came from Kotoko Express that at this point there's nothing they can do about you.
It's when we fail to have a honest integrity. That's where these problems come.
Did that get to you?
You know,
that the whole Kotoko Express will go and publish a certain article about you?
But it showed how a thick-skinned I was, just a young guy, you know, as I look like, and the whole, you know, how can you have your own coach and then you decide not to protect your coach, and then you decide not to protect your brand. It's, you know, Kotoko is a huge brand, and I have tried. You see that even all this time I have never spoken anything negative about Kotoko, because there were so many good things about Kotoko.
But were there also negative things?
Of course, every life has positive and negative. You know, it's dependent on the individual. But you know, in 2014, what happened in 2014? We started a league. By the first round, we had won the league.
Yeah. I remember that shoot of Royal Sports on Seydou Bansin's
goal. Seydou Bansin goal.
I recall.
It's a Jordan Opoku pass. Yaya lay off Seydou Bansin's finish. And
you still record all this?
I recall everything. I recall so many goals that we played, because they were all goals that were constructed, and it's out of the principles that I had spoken about. Yeah. So after 2014, you understand that the team that made Chan to do well, because we contributed about 9 players.
Yeah. 2014 Chan team.
After that, what happened?
That made it to the final.
All these players left. Somewhere in Africa, somewhere in Europe, they all left. So it means we needed to do a rebuilding process, right? So you need that support. You need that managerial and administrative support. And that's why I said you needed a very honest integrity to say as it is. How do you go into, and that's why the king is always the overlord. He did so much for me. He did so much for me. In 2012, 2013, when things were even hard, he walked to our training pitch, and then he came to me in the middle of the pitch. So if you have someone in the middle of the pitch and you are here, would you hear what they are talking about? But I was with him there, and then we spoke, and it empowered me to give it everything. So I didn't have any reserves when I was in Kotoko. I was ready to give it everything. And I gave everything, and I got everything. So 2014, 2015 would have been the easiest league that we win. Would have been the easiest.
I remember.
You know why?
In February.
Yes, you know why? Because we had. This was a season where the league looked like it was going to be truncated. It was truncated. Nothing will happen, and then we had to go around to play so many matches. We played over 33 matches, and so if you play 33 matches, it means the league is over. You finish the league, and then we just heard that the league was going to come on again, and then we made all the necessary.
I remember your explanation that you said that because the team has spent a lot of time in pre-season, so it was impacting the team.
Of course, because you had already finished.
Were going to get better along the line.
And then it's like you don't get the support. You are not aligned. You are saying this, and then the management is also saying something different, you know. So and they sell this, yes, and they sell this into the minds of the supporters, you know, and then they will view, we are not getting results. Do we buy results or we create them? We created, and in the previous years we created. I didn't say I created. We created because I don't think I did it alone. We did it together, so we created it. So it is important to appreciate that we lost We lost Akufu.
I remember,
we lost,
I remember Ben
all,
Achampong.
yes,
I remember you lost Ben Achampong.
Yes, we lost all the guys. Issei Akubu had gone. Yeah, Frimpong. You can mention them.
Most of them were going to TP Mazembe.
Yes, they were going.
That, yeah.
So we lost all these players, and we now brought. We brought Mohamed Dauda. Ades, you know, I just brought them up.
Young players.
Yeah, and I told them that we'll make
it.
I just told them that we'll make it, but we just need to be patient with these boys. And the league, after 5 matches, and I think my last game was against Ash Gold.
So when they asked you to step aside, how did you feel?
I just told them that.
16?
I just told them that I don't know what.
And it was happening 106 days.
Yes, yes. I just said I don't know what you mean by stepping aside. If you decide whatever you decide, I was ready with it. In fact, I didn't like the attitude. Honestly, I didn't like. I'm very humble and modest in dealing with difficulties, but I didn't like the approach. And I didn't like the attitude. I didn't like an attitude where people can easily lie about someone, you know, when you know that is not what it is, because you had made up your mind. And they
were lying about you? Of
course, because if they lied about the players not being you losing the dressing room, you know, maybe they borrowed the words from the European, to use, it's so bad when you try to lie about people in that. And that's why I initially said, when you fail to be honest and have that integrity to speak the truth, then it loses its value.
Do you also have some regrets at working at Kotoko?
No, there are a lot of positives. No.
But there are also the
because
negative.
I have been like this all these years, and I had no views of going to tell someone that no, I'm interested in your job. All that I know is that always, for all the years that I have spent in my life, I have never been idle. Not having something to do. No.
What was your lowest
always
moment?
There's something for you to. You see the men walking on the street.
Yeah.
They always have something to do. So there's always possibility of something. There's so much to do.
What was your lowest moment at Kotoko?
I don't have lowest moments.
But there were moments we played the cup. When I say we, maybe I'm not speaking as a Kotoko fan.
That's fine. Yeah, it's good. We are all Kotoko. You know?
Yeah. So when I say now I'm speaking as a Kotoko fan. The Confederation Cup, the Champions League.
You see, when you lose a game,
despite those successes you had in the league, the team always struggled.
Because we had not gotten to the point where we could win at that phase.
Kotoko never had a team that could compete in Africa.
No. You needed to build that moment. You needed to create that moment. And the moment we could have done that was when we ventured against Bajaha. If we had maintained that squad, in the squad, then they would have been experienced enough to continue. But in the subsequent ones,
so what caused that?
Because of a lack of deliberate and consistent approach, and keeping it with the right patience around it. You need to create a model, and the model should be a deliberate approach. That we are putting them in contract for long-term planning because we want to go into Africa consistently. We have to win the Ghanaian League at least 3 times consecutively, and then that gives you the chance to be in the Champions League
and that's
3 or more times.
That also means you're maintaining your team.
Yes, so because that's how each team that won it, that's how they did it. Haas did it in 2000. TP Mazembe did it. Orlando Paris and
Mamelodi Sundowns and co.
If you want to win it, that's how you have to do it. You cannot just venture into the once and then you win it. If you venture into that, then you need to have a very big budget that will buy almost every best player in the continent and then put them together. And that's how you can really buy success.
When you left Kotoko, the next thing we heard that you were at Norgeland, maybe right within Norgeland and all that. Talk to us about.
In fact, when I left Kotoko, I was with the national team under 20s, and then I qualified them for the World Cup.
I recall that.
And then I was with the Satellites.
Yeah, I recall that.
Put them together.
Yeah.
Gideon Mensah, Dauda Mohamed, Emmanuel Lomote, Opoku, what's his name? Opoku, this Santaba from Chelsea, Brecum Chelsea in France now.
Oh, I've forgotten his name.
Yeah, so these were things that we put together. Sometimes we don't appreciate the aims of the national team. The youth national team is to give the right people the opportunity to develop. So sometimes when you win success, yes, absolutely, because when you don't give the right talent the opportunity to be there, and you put the wrong ones there, then it means you have denied the right people the right opportunity to be there to grow into the A. Because if you don't have it rightly, how can you get it rightly at the A?
That's a major problem. So talk to us about that right to dream, Noduland synergy.
Okay, so
how you groom your talents, how they're able to fit.
So when I was here before and I left, and then I was with the Football Association as the youth development officer and coach.
And that was the time Otia Quintin
yes,
said
and then I was also I was also the head coach of the Black Queens in 2017.
Yeah.
And then I had a chance to visit FC Noduland, and I saw their talent idea, and then recruitment and development to be huge. And I thought, and so thanks to Alaji MND Jaula and then Mr. Kwesinyan Techi, because I was the head coach of the, and then I walked to him. First I asked my uncle to speak with him, because this is what I think I have to do. And then he said, no, but you are the coach. And I said, yes, I think that when I have the chance of working there and I return, I'll be of higher benefits to the country than it is now. And then he said he supports my point, and so I went on steady leave without pay, and
you were on study leave.
Yes.
For a while.
Yes.
And you really learned a lot.
Yeah, a lot of, because you need to understudy you need to understudy the game itself. You need to understudy the game itself, and I think that it changed so many things it changed my life. Changed my life because I learned to work with people. I learned to work with people of different belief. I learned to work, to delete my capacity and to be simplified.
This is technical language, but I'll take it like that.
I'll take it like that.
How,
because sometimes it's difficult to think that you are the head coach of this, and then
so
you
are in charge.
And then you get into an environment and it's like you have superiors. How many people will succumb to that? But I didn't look at that. I looked at the opportunity. So I looked at Kudus, I looked at Maxwell, I looked at Gosway, I looked at Mumin, I looked at Abu Francis, I looked at Diomande, and I looked at Simon, and I was thinking,
Ibrahim
Sadiq, and I was thinking, how would I help these boys? No, I have to accept the situation to help these boys to be able to understand the structures being laid in FC Noduland, to understand the processes of integrating and adapting, to be able to transit, into the next phases of their career. How would the FC Noduland, staff understand, the creativity of Kudus, to allow him some space, even though we have a clear structure? How would they understand what Ibrahim Sadiq's personality is made of? How would they understand Maxwell? How would they understand the ones yet to come, Nuama, and then Adamu, Nagalo, and others? So I had to not even talk about who I was, and they go to Google and they find out, you are so many champions in this, and then why are you not saying it? I said, and I'll tell them that, come on, it doesn't matter. What matters is today. So I think that it gave me a lot of things to learn about myself, to learn about people, to learn around people, to get to know much from people. So it's a huge breakthrough. And as I said, big kudos to Fleming Peterson, and then Casper Human, and all Tom Vernon. Tom Vernon has been massive, and more especially because when I was leaving here to the national team were promised to be paid a certain amount, and then he asked me, how much are they going to pay you? And I said it, and he said he would double it, and I said, no, I just want to go and serve my nation. And then he was very enthused about that, and he allowed me to go. And you know what? Meanwhile, in my talks with him, I always told him that in future I want to coach in Europe. So when I had the chance to go there to see what they are doing, he asked me, remember what you said? You said you want to, one day you want to coach in Europe. I think this is the, now you have Europe here. So I looked and I said, yes, this is the moment to go to learn so many things. And I think that this has supported and then has really opened my sight in terms of football development and progress.
How proud are you when you see Kudus, when you see Kamal there, when you see Brian Sadiq, Maxwell and next Niyama? These boys, how proud are you when you see them?
Just reflective. I just become reflective to say that always someone needs someone to become who he wants to be, and everyone has the right to dream. So they had the right to dream what they have become today, and it is an opportunity to have this thought and to even bring even more and more and more of them.
How far do you think they can go?
To the best that they can be, and that is part of our style and our model. Our model is that we want to develop them to the highest possible level. You know, and that is a clear interpretation of how we view football. Which is governed by 4 values, like goal orientation. Because we need to be oriented. Goal orientation means that we have to score more goals, create more chances, deny opponents from scoring again, and then we have to be in control of the game, either in possession or out of possession, and then we have to be in command of the game. We have to make sure that we are respecting the structures that we put in place. We have to try as much as possible to be effective. So we play with a very clear ideologies, in terms of how we want to score goals. We just don't score goals. We create the moment, goals. And so these are part of our movements to educate the player, and I think that we are continuously doing that. So we think that we still anticipate of creating more players to be able to see these ones as their reference points.
Let me sign up with the national team, and this takes me to the FIFA World Cup in Qatar. Just around this time last year, that a call came through for you to be the assistant coach of the Black Stars.
Oh really? Yes, yes. You are right. Yeah, it was around this time, close to when we were about to play Nigeria. Hey, the time is passing so quick. we are growing older, so we have to do so many good things, so that when we are not there, one day
people will remember
this.
Yeah.
I think that it's just a call to serve, and
who plays the call?
I think it's I think my uncle Alaji Mendy, and initially there was an initial one that I said no, this wasn't the right time, because I had just taken over this project,
head of
football, and trying to put this in place, and I didn't need distractions. I just respectfully said this wasn't the right time, and so at the right time, why not? I'll come and support. And so
was the initial call to work with CK or Milo?
No, I think the initial call was to work with Milo. Yeah, Milo.
Oh, okay.
But I said it wasn't the right time because I had just taken over. And so my organization were really scared that I was going to leave. But I assured them that no, it wasn't going to be. So I rather would demand to do more work, to create more players to go in there, rather than go in there and then not creating that possibilities. And I was recruiting new staff from Europe, and I wanted them to understand the culture and then environment properly. They needed a better transition than it would have been, and I didn't want to play more truancy in the system. So I denounced it. But the second call, I realized that the nation needed us. The nation needed us, and so it was the right time to really come and support to the best of our ability. And so and you know, the environment is a friendly environment. The environment are people that I have worked with and I have known, and we are in very good books. You know, I'm not the talking type. You know, I only talk when the situation comes like this. And so
you hardly talk.
Yeah, you know, it is not important to talk. It's important to listen more. It's important to view, you know, intensely. I observe very intensely. So when I observe and I'm speaking about something, I speak on content. And so when the call came, I thought that I had to also have a way of convincing my organization to know that, and you know, my organization is both here and then Denmark, and I said it is time for us to also contribute. It is time for us to also support. It is time for us to serve. So we have to do it. And so you saw that I didn't contribute just by myself. I still had my technical directorate working. You know, so.
But how difficult was it for you to combine the two?
You know, when I say I had my technical director working, it means that my staff that are here, still I use them to do so many works for us. I task them to do so many works.
For the Black Stars?
Yes, for so many games, we do so many works here that they have to watch games. They have to do some, you know, clips. They have to do some specific players, some games, set pieces, so many of the matches, and so many works. So people support in various ways. And so sometimes you have just one individual, but you have so many people who are also supporting. You know.
Talk to me. What happened in that dressing room after that qualification against Nigeria? And in fact, what was the conversation heading to the second leg in Abuja?
Remember we spoke, right?
Yes.
And what did I tell you? Tell the viewers. Tell the viewers what I told you.
No, the conversation we had.
Tell them.
Oh, it was not on record, so.
Because you asked, how is it? And I said, oh,
if we get 60% of Thomas
no, first
quality.
I said the goalless draw is the best results.
That was the first thing you said.
I said it's the best result, and then you were pushing me, and I said, Muftar, just keep that one, and then remain very positive. And I said the energy the players brought to stay in the structures that shortly we brought was very, very evident of their commitments, you know, in bringing a change, a drastic change into our football. You know, remember the aim was not just go and win against Ghana and Nigeria. The aim was to begin to create success, and create success means that you have to build a team.
Yes.
And the process of building a team, you do the right things and leave the others.
They will come natural.
They will come natural. So you don't talk, I'll go and win AFCON. You don't talk about that. You just talk about doing the right things. And when you do the right things and performance comes, results follow. When results comes, the rest will be. So I know Thomas. And then that reminds me, yesterday I was dreaming about him. I don't know. Yes.
You dreamt about
yes,
Thomas?
Yeah.
Oh,
yes,
wow.
Yes.
And what was the dream about?
You know, he's a funny guy. He makes a lot of funny jokes, and then you don't think that he's the one who is doing it. And he was doing those funny jokes with one of the players. And I said, look at Thomas. Oh. He doesn't look like he's the one creating it, but he's the one doing it. And then he came to give me high five, you know. So these moments were a moment when in the game, each time he sparks off, you see sparkles. You see it. And I told you that, no, Thomas just played about 55 of himself. And I remember in the dressing room, I said, Thomas, if you play 65 to 70% of your quality, we will win against Nigeria, hands down. And he was looking at me. I said, yes, Thomas, I'm telling you, you know, if you play just this percentage of what you have, we'll win, because you bring so much with the group.
What was that?
He was intercepting. He was breaking lines. You know, he was winning his duels. He was ready to pick the second balls. And he had Kudus higher up the pitch to always find him. And then Kofi Tree was there to, you know, to mop up. You know, Baba Idrusu was his best. You know. And
that's a kind of like our seat inside
yes,
the stadium for that.
I remember when I met you, you know, in the hotel, and And even when I was going into the bus, and then I said, no, Muftau, it will be well, and I just.
Indeed, it was well.
Yes.
We qualified.
Yes.
But
And we could have even gone up with a bigger scoreline, because the second half we were much even in control in the second half.
But the Nigerians also had lots of chances.
But you know, in terms of quality, Nigeria had the quality.
Individual quality.
But we had the structure.
That was the best part.
Yes. So when you have structure, and that's why I keep talking about not putting in place 11 very good players.
Put in place a team. Structure.
When you put in place a team, the team will make use of the 11 good players. Remember the year when Real Madrid had all the
Galacticos. The Galacticos.
Did they win anything?
I recall. No, in fact,
because you need
just getting to the quarterfinal of the Champions League.
Yes, but you need a collection of players to build a winning team. You need workers, they are the doers. You need classical, intelligent players. You need creative players, and then you need leaders. So these are the collection of players you need when you are building a team. You need people who are, so you see that the intelligent ones are always ready to remind players on the tactical structure of the team. The creative players, when it becomes too tight, out of nothing they can open up some space. The doers will always make sure that they mop up everything. The leaders will always be ready to keep them in terms of their mental fortitude. And so that you need these people to take care of each other.
Going to the World Cup, people were saying that we were going to do well, and in fact, even before the World Cup, there was lots of drama surrounding your player call-outs, you dropping players, and on all that. What was this all about? And the surprising one, everyone talked about, was the decision to drop Joseph Painter. What influenced that decision?
In my mind, when you were asking, I just said maybe you were going to.
I forget.
Yes, I knew you were going to talk about this. I think that in our we are always very intense in the way we pick up players. So when the situation arises, it's so easy, and that was why the game in Japan. We have very few matches to really know the players, and then also to really determine who should be in the squad, and so it wasn't so easy that people who couldn't play much in terms of during the qualifier, the few games that we have.
The few games you played, like the Kirin Cup.
Yes, wouldn't give you the confidence and then the aptitude to vie for them. And so those who didn't have the chance of being in that game was really a big disappointment.
But some players came.
Yes.
Salis came.
Yes.
Kamal Soa came.
Yes.
Who?
Inaki.
Inaki came.
But
for Inaki, okay.
Okay, so once you have said,
automated.
Once you believe that he's automated, so is it that others who also came. so we'll keep it like that. But I think that on a very serious note.
Was it difficult to drop Joseph Painter? Was it a difficult decision?
Every player's drop was a difficult decision. Difficult decision in the sense that the coach has to take that decision, and the coach has to take that responsibility to speak with the person. And you don't expect that when you speak with the person is going to be happy. You don't expect that. You expect the person to be disappointed. You expect the person to be upset. But you expect that the person will see that one as part of the industry. That is what it is. And you as a coach, you expect that to be part of your responsibility, that you have to speak with the player. You have to expect the player not to be happy about it. But you need to be very reserved and not emotional of what the player might say in that moment, to always think that there's always a moment for a second chance. So irrespective of how he feels, I will not feel too bad if he says I'm disappointed, I'm not part of it. That the only disappointment will be that if the person begins to mention, but this person, you don't make such references. You always have to be very much aware that.
So Joseph Painter didn't make the World Cup squad because he didn't play the Kirin Cup?
Not necessarily so, but I think that other players were valued ahead of him.
His numbers were crazy.
Numbers alone does not make a team into that stance. You need players who could fit into different positions. Also, when the going becomes very, very tough, and so you'll be looking at, okay, if the wide areas become difficult, where else can I use him? Okay, I might use him in the central offensive position also. So you look at all this movement. I personally sometimes do not even want talking about players' situation, but I just want to feel that it also gives you the opportunity to try to keep people in the notion that sometimes it's not so an easy moment to pick players out of others, but you need to look at what you need from various positions, how you want to play. Do you want to value more strikers or more wingers or more players who could play in 2-3 positions? If that is the situation, then that could be one big criteria. Would you want to say that it would be difficult for you to find a player to have
the cohesion of the system?
Yes, the cohesion of the group. Is it the right time to have him, or you need more time? Some players you needed the players on a shorter time. Some players you need them on a longer term. Some players you needed them on the medium term. Somebody like Salis, for instance. You got him just one match.
Yeah.
Before against Switzerland before, so you need other players to be able to have some good function within the new squad, because someone might say, but he was in AFCON. Yes, but the handlers might not be. Somebody like me, I know him in and out.
Yeah.
I know him in and out. He was with me in the satellites team, so he was with Gideon and others. So it's somebody that I know in and out. I think that he was equally not fortunate because of injuries here and there, also coming in, delaying him. Everybody knows the quality that he brings. And it was not a time to really be thinking about, do you have time to do that? You don't have time to do that.
We don't have the time to do that.
You don't have to.
But I don't know that this question might sound very controversial, but people have said that the FA was forcing players on you people.
Not at all, to be very honest with you. Can you mention one player?
Well,
so assuming the president manages to get a player like Salis to agree to play for Ghana,
will you drop him?
Will you drop him? Assuming maybe the president is able to facilitate the process of the process of Salis Abdul Samad into the Blasters, Muftau, what would you say? As a coach, would you say no? Sometimes they also can express their views just like an ordinary Ghanaian, just like you and any other person out there, that will say that, just like you were talking about a particular player, such could be the same thing, that they could say, hey, I saw this guy, would that be tempted to maybe the way
they make a recommendation because of the position they occupy, it could influence how you think.
I think that where we have all reached, the members of the technical staff at that time, where we had all reached in terms of our profession, we have reached a level where we meet boards of our various institutions, to tailor views and then opinions, and then you still stick to your very strong grounds, and then technically you come out with your technical views. I think that nothing of that sort really happened in my estimation. Everything that you saw were players who were tried and tested in various positions.
By
and
you
I think
people,
that
by the technical
yes,
team.
absolutely.
So
There was
all
no
26 players that went to the
yes,
World Cup.
there was
the
no
technical team
there
that
was no
decided.
influence by soever. If you look at the two locals that were part of the team, they were part of the team on merit, because obviously if you have a Danladi, maybe it was just by coincidence. It was just by because by coincidence. No, absolutely by coincidence, in the sense that who would you have brought as a third goalkeeper apart from and apart from Danladi.
So, coach,
Danladi is a U23 goalkeeper, right?
Coach,
Danladi is also the
so in other words,
one. Yes.
Banye.
No, I'm just asking a question.
No. So I'm just saying something. In other words, the technical team felt Afriye Banye was better than Joseph Pinso. That was the thinking of the technical team.
No, you listen.
In the other thinking of the technical team, you also equally felt that Ibrahim Danlad was a better option more than Richard Atta and co within the space.
But Richard Atta was not keeping even for Hasselhoff at the time.
Oh, no. I'm just citing examples.
I'm not saying anything. I'm also just making a point.
Okay, I get it.
Yes. So in a very clear mindset, I think that we really look into all this, and we also look into the effect of how do you develop the group? How do you develop the group on a very immediate moment to a longer? Do you need somebody so daring immediately, or you need time to be able to do? These are all considerations when you are vying into a tournament. And then you also have to think about, if you look at a free Banye, for instance. Banye, I'm just using this as a basic example. Banye has been very influential locally, not only on the club tent, but on the national team, both the under-23s and then and Banye also carried himself very well when he had the opportunity to be there with the then Bechem player. He was my former player in Kotoko, left-footed. He's now in Okra. He carried himself very, very well. Trying to do his very best that he could in that situation. So a national call, sometimes you are an ambassador of the nation. When it comes. So the way you carry yourself, is very, very important. Sometimes we just look at what the person does just on the pitch, but it goes beyond these phases.
Now let's wrap up the conversation on the World Cup itself. And 3 matches, 1 defeat. In your estimation, did you ever thought we to qualify beyond the group?
I think that I had a very modest expectation. I thought it was possible to qualify from the group, and I thought we needed to be prepared for whatever, because that is the World Cup. And sometimes the World Cup, it goes beyond just what happens. You need a certain level of experience. You need a certain level of resilience to sail through, and you could see how it was told the game against all the 3 games. The game against Japan, the toughest game was the middle game.
South Korea.
Yes, that was the toughest game.
Those
is the toughest game. They were the best team for me.
Those 8-9 minutes.
Yes, I'm telling you that
it was the longest I've ever had seated at a stadium.
Yes, but I'm telling you that it was a difficult game because it wasn't easy to predict how they were coming. They were varying their game here, and we tried to vary to follow them. It wasn't so easy. But the other 2 games, you just know how Portugal will come and play. You know how Uruguay will come and play. In the game against Uruguay, for instance, we only had some defensive difficulties, individual.
Were we not psychologically ready for the game against Uruguay? People actually thought that because there was
but
a
at the World Cup,
potential déjà vu that was going to happen. Indeed, it happened.
But a friend of mine told me that when you are going into a battle against your enemy, you needed to dig 2 graves. One is your own grave, and the other one is the opponent's grave.
You either bury the person or the opponent buries you. And you were buried.
Yes, and for me, I think that it has a negative effect in terms of the psychological element, and I think that including our fans and everyone overestimated. This is the moment. This is the moment.
To revenge.
But in football, there's nothing like that. There's nothing like that. You just need to prepare technically how you are supposed to. Unfortunately, and it was the game we started so well, right from the blast of the game. We were dominating in the opening minutes. We were dominating. But sometimes these things happen. That you have
What
everything.
happened in the dressing room at halftime?
At halftime, we just needed to do something tactical.
Did any fight?
No, no, no.
It's because we're made to understand that because
No.
you made 2 quick changes.
Yeah. There was nothing.
People felt that they were targeted for substitution.
No, but you know these things are normal. The person could even come out and show his outburst. It's normal. It's an emotional game. So if somebody comes out,
so the
you have
emotions
to.
were exhibited in the dressing room.
But not as you anticipated. No, there was nothing like that. We just made the changes and then we did the tactical orientation, and then we're out on the pitch.
And those who were substituted, were they disappointed?
Everyone will be disappointed because the person would have thought that I have some 45 minutes to get my game back. Every player wants that minutes to do what? How many players will be playing, not playing well, and then they will just come and tell you, the coach, please take me out. You always would think that, oh, there will be, I can still put something in. Yeah. So when you take that person out, he comes out, should he not feel disappointed?
People said that your game management was bad.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I need to know so that we can. You know, I've told you that I have a very honest, very honest integrity to unlearn to learn. Yeah. Because we only learn once because we want to get better, and we never stop. We never stop learning.
I
because
want to ask a very personal question. People said because I gave the probable lineup of Ghana versus South Korea, I unsettled the technical team. Did that happen?
Oh, no, I don't think it's something that I wouldn't want to talk about these things. You know,
but did I unsettle you?
No, not at all. Not at all. I have always been the same person, and I will continue to be the same. I don't think there will be any moment where I'll change to try to be Muftao, or Muftao changing to become Didi. Maybe you just pick something out of Didi and add up. Maybe I pick something out of Muftao to add up. Nothing of that sort. We have been a comprehensive partners in the development and promotion of our football, and I think that that will continue to be.
So some of you were not accused of giving me information.
But since when have you known me?
I've known you for years.
So since when did even prior to the World Cup did we talk? No, we were not talking that much.
We didn't,
the only time I saw you was when I saw you there, and so
once in a while, hi.
Yeah, and then we go. But when we are on set like this, we pour everything out. But you know, sometimes these things they happen. It's just like when we're delaying to announce the squad, every speculation here and there. Sometimes
but I had the correct squad.
Then maybe somebody gave you, but it's just a normal speculation that you might speculate, because if you follow the squad really well. I remember in my staff, I asked them, and they had almost, you know,
a chunk of it correct.
Yes, correct. Because when you follow the game really very well, maybe you might add your favorite one or two.
What is that thing that you've learned from Otuado?
Oh, I think there are a lot that we learned from each other.
One thing you learned from
her? Trust. Trust is very key. Trusting people that you work with is very key, and that trust is there. That trust is in our team, and that trust must be maintained. That trust must exist, and that trust must continue.
And talking of maintenance, yourself, George Wharton, Chris Hughton maintained. Congratulations once again.
Oh, really? I didn't know about this. You are breaking the news. You are a newsbreaker. No, really?
Yeah.
I told you just have to work and then wait.
Okay, so what does Chris Hughton bring to the table?
Team building, consistency, and bonding. And you know, he came here. He visited me here, and then I gave him audience with my staff. We had fortunately it fell on a Thursday, and Thursdays we have technical meetings where we extensively explore around each other, and I gave him that space, and then I gave him the space in the assembly hall where we had the whole student body, and then he spoke to them. And so already this is somebody who values their grassroots. This is somebody who cherish a partnership, who cherish colleagues, who cherish unison. This is somebody who has seen it all at the top level and still says that I still learn around these people that I work with. So I think that the FA and then the government really are very clear in their direction towards the development and progress of our football in terms of deliberate, keeping consistency, and then I hope that they will remain patient around these processes in terms of how we want to create success. In creating success, you need a period to do this, and you need consistency. And what has been created already means that the bond is there, and so this is a huge one. So Chris brings about team building, cohesion, and then strong relation, and then experience. You know, at the EPL level, huge experience, and that's what I said. He has seen it all, but he's still very open-minded.
Should we raise our expectations since his experience?
No, we have to be very modest in terms of our expectations, and then support and align, especially our huge industry, which is the media point, that we need to have a clear view of how we are rolling things, so that you'll be able to see that, okay, this is where we are. This is where we are going. We want to go, but these are the things that we need to be doing. And the good thing is that we have a strong database, and that's why when I was talking about the John Pinzel issue, I was saying that some players you need them now, some players you need them in the medium phase, some players you need them in the longer term, and in the process of team building. That's how it's going to be. Some are going to be falling off. Some will fall off so early, but others are the ones that you are carrying for longer periods. So how do you do to be able to have them consistently be part of it? And it's about having at least a collection of 50 to 55 players, where you know that always the revolving is going to come out from this group. And once you have that one, then you are building a strong team.
So from the team we took to the World Cup, what percentage of that team do you think we should maintain?
Absolutely, the squad is still alive, and then the squad is what you have to be looking at, how the leagues are going on now, and then those who are on the pitch, and if you are talking about those to maintain, if the person is injured, as we know from
you don't want to answer my question.
Daniel Chire being injured. If the person is injured, absolutely he's out.
No, but I mean,
because you just need 5 days to play.
Should we keep 70%, 80%, 90%?
I think that the core of the team is still the base.
And the core of the team, is it 70, 80, or 90%?
You should know. If I say the core of the team, you should know what I mean. I think that you need to have at least, you know, we have some players who were also injured before then. Yeah. And so if you are talking about the core of the team, and then the core of the team should rather be the team that was even part of the Nigeria squad, and because the Nigeria squad really was the foundation. And once you have the foundation, and then the World Cup gives you the opportunity to build, you know, to a certain pedigree. You know, what do? Do you destroy it, or you just have to continue with it and then keep the process?
So you suggest continuity?
Yeah, continuity. Consistency is the key. Okay. Consistency is the key. But the
so
database
how long
is
should we
really
be patient with you? Should we give people
I
2, 3, 4, 5 years?
I think that it's not.
So that we can say that in the next 5 years we want to win the AFCON.
You know, we have not gotten to the point where we begin to say, okay, now timelines. You know, in building a team, you just know that now this is how the team is moving. It's a clear direction. Then you just know that this clear direction, and then after a period of games, you can just say that now you can even say that next year, if there's something, you can win. You can say that by next 2 years, this guy is going to get very experienced. If Kudus and then Kamal and then Osman and then Salis, you know, have the opportunity of playing 2 AFCONs, and then they play in a World Cup. Then in the World Cup, then you can say that this World Cup, the worst we have to reach is this. Derek Bortin and others, and then Stevie and others, they had the opportunity of, you know, getting into this. They play many tournaments, they play many games. So they can close their eyes, just call this one, put him in there. Any coach stands there, it will work.
So
the coach might say, let's go and play like this. and they go in there and they conjure their magic.
And they will play.
At the end, who gets the reward?
So sometimes that we should win the AFCON 2024.
I think hope is something that keeps us working. Hope is always something that keeps us working. But I think that the most important aspect is that now our focus is more on the team building. On the team building. We could do it so well quickly and then it just rolls out. But I think that our emphasis should be more on the team building. And I believe that we need your support. We need, even though we are going to do everything that is humanly possible, but we need a clear alignment of thoughts in these dimensions. You just don't put the blocks together quickly and then you say the house is full. When you do that, it's like you are just pinching yourself and laughing.
First game against Angola.
I think that the players will be very motivated. They will be motivated and everybody will want to catch their eyes and then to be able to come and give something.
Everyone want to catch their eyes and want to give something, and that something is always here on Prime Tech. I'm Nabila Ablai, Didi Dramani, assistant coach, former coach of Commercial Santiago, former Black Maidens and Black Princesses head coach. What's my guest? Thank you, coach.
Thank you, Muftau.
Thank you.
Always Muftau.